Happening now, New York on pause has been extended, what reopening looks like. Plus, Jamestown Public School Superintendent joins us live to bring an update on how schools are continuing to cope with COVID-19.
Well, a few showers have been moving across the southern tier this morning, and more of that is on the way for the afternoon. A slight risk for strong to severe storms. We'll time it out as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now on this Friday. I'm Justin Gould. Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell has extended the county's state of emergency order for up to an additional 30 days. That due to the continuing COVID-19 outbreak. Wendell says the extension helps the county qualify for state and federal assistance related to their response to the pandemic. Now, at any time, he does have the power to drop the order if the area begins to reopen and cases remain under control. The county reported no new cases of the virus yesterday. There remains a total of 44 confirmed cases, with 7 of them active, 33 recovered, and 4 deaths. Now, Absolute Care of Westfield reported an employee who worked in that senior living facility has tested positive for COVID-19, although that company did not release when that positive date was first identified. The company says since of learning of that result, everyone at the home was tested, and so far every test has come back negative. Today at 3 o'clock, county officials are slated to hold their weekly press conference update. You can watch that live right here on WNY News Now. Well, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo signed an executive order last night extending the state's stay-at-home directive through June 13th. The order extension that was posted on the state's website continues the New York State on pause policy, which was put into place in March in response to the virus outbreak. Now, yesterday, Cuomo said 5 of the 10 state regions met criteria to begin relaxing social distancing, including a decline in hospitalizations amid this coronavirus outbreak.
Do not underestimate this virus. It has beaten us at every turn, and it has surprised us at every turn. Don't take it lightly. Don't underestimate it. I believe the facts will change as we go forward. The more we learn about the virus, the more the facts change, and the worse it gets.
Western New York, however, took a step back in the effort to reopen yesterday. On Wednesday, the region met 5 of the 7 benchmarks, but Thursday only met 4 of the 7. According to the state's reopening dashboard, the region no longer meets criteria for new hospitalizations. Now, last weekend, the underlying legal authority of New York on pause was prolonged, but not the specific order. Well, protesters will once again take to the streets of Jamestown on Saturday, calling on state and county and local officials to reopen our area. Garrett Kane, he's the local spokesperson for WNY, says residents will gather at noon in Dow Park to share their stories with the media about how their livelihoods have been negatively impacted by the New York pause shutdown. Kane says that the current opening process is flawed and that our area is grouped in with Buffalo.
If we could go county by county, that would be great. You know, Larry Sharp, when he ran for governor, talked about that, and it just keeps echoing over and over in my head. And I know, like I said, there would be repercussions if we decided just to go alone as a county, but I think those potential repercussions outweigh the damage that's been done already and the damage that'll continue to be done if we just keep playing political patty cake with the state and not just saying, you know what, we can handle it as a county and let's go.
Now, this week, our area's congressional and state representatives held a press conference speaking out about the shutdown and throwing their support behind reopening. Assemblyman Andy Goodell making the boldest case, calling for Chautauqua County to open in a safe, responsible manner immediately. Well, Heritage Ministries and Lutheran of Jamestown are now working together to follow New York's new nursing home testing mandate. The 2 elderly care facilities will soon deploy a new mobile testing booth created by Heritage's Vice President of Facilities, and local business D&S Glass. Now the booth will be adaptable to allow staff members to adjust the height of each person, accommodating to those who are unable to actively sit up or stand easily. They feature a plexiglass wall with a small access panel for test administration. Officials say the wall will protect both residents and staff from exposure and will also help prevent valuable and sometimes difficult to obtain personal protective equipment, which would normally have been changed out after each test. Well, the Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce is handing out free masks to restaurants in our area to help combat the spread of COVID-19. This morning, Chamber of Commerce officials will be delivering mask packets, which are provided by the State Restaurant Association. Todd Tranum, the CEO of the Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce, tells us in total more than 3,000 masks will be delivered.
This is our effort to help these small businesses, particularly in this case these restaurants, have access to this. Obviously right now cash flow is a challenge for these businesses and they're really busy, so we thought we would help them out and did some outreach to the businesses, aggregated their orders, picked up some of these, and we've been delivering these the past couple days.
Now, Tranum urges restaurants who were unable to get masks in the first delivery to contact his office, and they will work to make accommodations. Well, we thank everyone so much for joining us here on WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear in our coverage of COVID-19. Got to say hello to Barbara. Good to see you on the broadcast. Thanks so much for joining us today. Got to say hello to Mark, to Cindy, to Butch, to Crystal, and to Joseph. Joseph says he needs a haircut. I feel you right here, my friend. Certainly, I've kind of just let it go, and here we are now. Let's get a check of our First Defense weather forecast, and Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter is standing by with that. Very busy in the weather department today, Dakota.
Absolutely, Justin. It's a very busy weather day and a very busy news day as well. It's just busy around here. In general. Here's a look downtown from the Doubletree Hotel downtown. The clouds have socked in, but look at this dew point number of 61 degrees. It is muggy out there. And again, when the dew point reaches the 70s, that's when you start to feel the moisture in the air. And again, we've had a few rain showers move through this morning. So far, we're actually in a break in the coverage right now. Nothing across Western New York right now, but that will be changing as we go into the afternoon here. Look at these temperatures, 69 here in town, 71 in Mayville, 77 already over in Erie, 72 in Fredonia, and 69 in Randolph. So it is very warm today, and these warm temperatures and the high humidity is going to allow a squall line of showers and thunderstorms to flare out ahead of a cold front this afternoon. We'll actually time it out a little bit later on. 65 was the high yesterday. We only managed 57 as the low this morning. 89 and 29 are essentially in the record books for this date. So through the afternoon, showers and thunderstorms likely through the afternoon. The better chance for these is mainly going to be early to late this afternoon. Strong to severe storms definitely likely with gusty winds, maybe some large hail at times as well, and heavy rainfall. A muggy day, 68 on the hills to 75 near the lakeshore. As you just seen, Erie is already up to 77 degrees already with a south wind 10 to 20 miles per hour and some wind gusts near 30 miles an hour. We'll time out the severe threat for today, plus warmer temperatures as we head into the Memorial Day weekend. We'll talk about it in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up next, how schools are continuing to cope with COVID-19. Jamestown Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Brett Atthorpe joins us live next.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading the WNY News Now mobile app. Stay up to date on local news, weather, and sports that matter to you. Plus, subscribe to breaking news and weather alerts from the team that puts coverage first. In addition, watch news as it happens with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network. Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. Well, state officials earlier this month announced that schools will remain closed for the rest of this academic year. Now officials are working to determine what the new normal might look like this fall. Joining us on the show to talk more about how this affects schools here in Jamestown is Jamestown Public School Superintendent Dr. Brett Athorpe. Dr. Athorpe, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Justin. Always a pleasure to be with you.
You've spoke all along, sir, that this wasn't really a surprise to hear the decision coming from Albany for schools to continue remotely into the end of the year. What does this mean for learning here in Jamestown?
So, yeah, you're right, Justin. We have all along said that, we're going to be planning for the worst, hoping for the best. And we planned long ago on how we would be out of school for the rest of the year. And our principals and teachers have done a great job. And right now we're in the final weeks of school. We call it our last quarter of school. On Monday, I'm going to announce the official end of the school year, which will be no doubt much earlier than in previous years, probably sometime during the second week of June. But right now, while our school buildings are closed, our schools are very much open in terms of distance learning.
Do you anticipate that we'll have some sort of solid plan for this fall? And what do you think maybe that could look like?
Well, that's a great question. I think for sure everybody can count on a very different school year next year. Very different. Right now, our leadership team is working on about 30 objectives for what needs to be answered and accomplished for our schools to reopen. And we're referring to guidelines, for example, from the Federal Center of Disease Control, the CDC. And we're trying to get our heads wrapped around, what it's going to take for the schools to be safe from a health perspective for everyone, but also, Justin, we want our schools to be safe mentally for everyone, right? We want to have environments that are conducive to learning, that dignify human nature. But if you think about it, you might remember being in middle school or elementary school and some of the bullies about germs, you touched me, you touched that, don't breathe on me, all that kind of stuff that is common for kids of that age. So how do we teach our teachers to teach in these new social distance environments, and how do we make it healthy for our kids? It's really a Herculean task.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like it. And you're right in that sense, I'd imagine, where, maybe kids were just joking, but now today it is a pretty serious issue in regards to germs, and especially, you think about it, kids do get sick, and especially with all the touching. I know that was one concern they had with daycare now that is still going on in regards to cleaning. Do you anticipate that school staff and school sizes would be smaller, or do you think that we would sort of just clean more? What's the process?
It's all on the table, Justin. It's all on the table right now. Whether we're talking staggered start and stop times, whether we're talking about, for example, middle school students never leaving their classrooms, right? Having teachers rotate classrooms and having lunch brought to their classrooms. This is all on the table. And things like mask, right? So, we have on any given day about 6,000 people on our campuses. So how do we have masks for that many people, right? And if our kids, and if you think about it, it's so unnatural for a 5-year-old to wear a mask for 6 hours a day. I just don't think that's humanly practical, right? Kids aren't biologically wired to do that. So how do we teach kids how to do that in a healthy way? Will we have to require masks for kids? Will they have, if they're cloth masks, will we have to wash them every day for the kids so that we can guarantee that they're clean, right? Tons of questions, which is why, Justin, I want to end the school year as soon as possible. I want to end the school year at the legal time, minimum time that we're allowed, so that we can close the books on this year and start getting our heads wrapped around what do we have to do to open school, which, all the questions that you talked about, we have to get answers for them in a very practical way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the governor has talked in at some length during his press conferences where maybe we would continue distance learning, especially downstate is where he was really referring to. But for a lot of students, that could be tough, especially if there are students who maybe need extra support and are, they learn better in a more physical environment. Is that something that you're keeping in mind as well during these talks?
Yeah, so there's two things there, Justin. One is when it comes to distance learning, you're absolutely right that the physical presence of teaching and learning is fundamental to teaching, right? Particularly for our youngest kids, right? They need to be near their teacher. They need to be near their friends. That's a biological requirement for them and natural. The second thing that I have a real hard time with the governor on is how are you going to pay for all this, right? I mean, we're talking right now, he's talking about reducing aid 20%, and we're supposed to find that out next week. Well, for Jamestown, $70 million of our $90 million is state aid. So you take 20% of that away, I don't even know if we're going to have enough teachers to teach. And so to do distance learning, we can give a kid a device, but we can't give them broadband. So how do you have broadband? And while it's been wonderful that our cable providers have offered up quote unquote free, they have strings attached to it that prevents kids living in poverty from taking advantage of that. So one of the things that I'm anxious about, Justin, is for us to reopen schools, we have to have a plan so that our teachers are prepared and our students are prepared for the second wave of this, right? So they're all forecasting a tough fall and a tough winter. Well, we can't come back to school unless our people are trained to leave school. The first time this happened, we get a pass because we had very short notice and everybody's doing the best they can. Now we're unnoticed. So we're going to have to, really train our staff and our students. But how do I provide broadband when they're going to take 20% of our aid away? It just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah. Shifting gears here a little bit to graduation. I know a lot of people are across the country now are taking place in virtual graduations at the college level. There was talk that maybe we could have some sort of ceremony at Chautauqua still, but now the institution transitioning to all online for this summer. Where does graduation stand at this moment?
So I've asked the senior class advisors, the seniors, and Mr. Williams, the high school principal, to come up with a list of options that they would like for a graduation ceremony. I'm going to review those with them at the end of the month and make a decision on graduation. My only requirement to them, my two requirements are that it has to be safe, and secondly, it has to be equitable, which means that all students can participate. And I know they're talking about virtual. They're talking about maybe using Strider Field in some pretty clever ways. But they're working on that now, Justin, and I'm going to formally review that here in about 2 weeks.
All right, absolutely. We'll look forward to the results of that. So you've done a great job of keeping parents, students, and teachers in the loop in regards to this outbreak, hosting Facebook Live sessions where you really open the doors and ask me anything. What are you hearing during those sessions, and what do the parents have to say?
I think that there is a newfound appreciation for education today. I think that, we all have the experience of having gone to school, but school has changed a lot in the last decade. It's become very sophisticated. And I think our parents, I hear a lot, they miss their kids being in school, and they're having a hard time learning the new math. You know, it's different. And so I think if there's any good in any of this, Justin, and that I picked up from these calls, is that I think there's a newfound appreciation for education and educators.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to ask you, earlier this year, you announced that you plan to retire come this June to spend more
Yep.
time with family. Is that still
Yep.
on, or do you plan to stay a little longer?
Well, the technical date of my retirement is June 30th. I've advised the board that I'll stay on as long as they have need for me. I know that they've been conducting interviews for replacement. Very selfishly, I would like to see this in the rearview mirror. I care a lot about this school and this community, so I'm willing to stay on and help as long as the board will have me. And we'll have to wait and see how long that is. But I know that they've been doing interviews this week, and I'm sure at the very minimal, Justin, I'll be involved with the transition.
Do you have an idea of what maybe that transition process is like? I know you've been at other large schools in the Buffalo area previously before this.
Yeah. So I think there's two elements, and this is very unique. The first element is understanding your community in school. So the new superintendent was going to come and have to devote a lot of time into understanding the community in the school. Usually it takes 4 or 5 months to do that. But then the second element this time around is we have this pandemic, and we have to reopen schools, and it's very complex. So my guess is that I will be working more on the reopening the school plan, while the new superintendent will be involved, but working on getting to know the community and the schools.
All right. And finally here, learning here in this community, not just in Jamestown, but everywhere, has changed so much. But it seems like from looking at posts on social media with your students that everyone is sticking together and keeping spirits high. What do you attest to that?
Well, it's interesting you say that, Justin, because I've had similar impressions of that. And tough times, rural communities and Western New York have a long tradition of rallying together when things get bad. And I see that here, whether it's our students, our community leaders, but the amount of benevolence that I have seen from students and community is just amazing. And I think, Justin, it's contagious. I think the kids and the people like doing things that makes them feel good, that helps others. And I see that spirit every single day demonstrated. And I'm not surprised. I generations and generations of Chautauqua County, back long before the Civil War. And, looking past in my family history was all around the community, rallying together on whatever the horrible event was at the time. We have a long tradition in our county of doing that. And I'm very proud of everybody for what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Jamestown Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Brett Athorpe joining us today. Sir, love talking to you. Thank you for your time. Good to see you're doing well.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate your work.
Now let's get a check of our weather forecast with Dakota.
Well, as the banner says, we can only get warmer from here. These are the high temperatures over the past 7 days. 39 last Friday, a staggering 35 on Saturday that broke the all-time record low maximum high temperature. And look at yesterday at 65 degrees, but more warmth is on the way. Right now, the News Now cam shows you mainly overcast skies. You can tell something gnarly is going to be happening later today when you see the sky out there. 69 right now as of a noon hour with a healthy south wind of 16. Got a wind gust of 24. And look at this bottom number, the dew point number. The dew point measures the moisture content in the atmosphere. The closer the air temperature and the dew point are, the more humidity there is in the air. And humans start to feel the humidity at a dew point of 60. And currently it sits at 61 degrees. So talking about the dew point, this is going to aid into basically, the storms this afternoon. So here are the current dew points around the region. Again, 61 at Jamestown, 60 in Dunkirk, also in Erie, 63 in Olean, 58 Bradford, and 60 in Buffalo. So when we see the dew point temperature starting to rise a little bit, that means there's more moisture in the air, but it also means that the air is starting to get a little bit convective here. And this is our big story going into this afternoon. So strong to severe thunderstorms likely this afternoon. We're talking about a start time of around 1 o'clock. Now, when we say around 1 o'clock, it may start a little bit after, it may start a little bit before, but we're going around 1 o'clock. That's mainly the western areas. To the eastern areas, 5 o'clock. So 1 to 5 will likely be our main timing window. Again, strong winds will definitely be our main impact here, and also some heavy rainfall at times, but there's also a chance maybe of some large hail. Again, large hail is defined as 1 inch in size or larger, and we can't rule out the chance of an isolated tornado. Again, the overall threat of a tornado is not zero, but it is relatively low. But we think gusty winds, heavy rain, and large hail will likely be our main threats from this round of storms. So Storm Prediction Center has the entire southern tier under a standard slight risk. That's all this yellow. That's a level 2 out of 5 for this afternoon. And actually, you see this orange back here in parts of central New York. That's a level 3 out of 5 back here. This is where the more severe activity will be off to the east. But the entire southern tier in northwestern Pennsylvania under that slight risk. That means severe thunderstorms are likely this afternoon. Warm front has actually pushed north. So a warm front has moved through. That's why the temperatures are warming, and also the dew points are spiking as well. This is the line of showers and storms that's going to be moving through this afternoon. This is a prefrontal squall line. There's a cold front back behind here. So this is all sparked out ahead of that cold front passage, which will come tonight. Brand new run of the in-house computer model on FutureScan. It times it out pretty well for you. Notice that line of showers sparking out ahead of that front. This is by about 1 o'clock. And again, showers and thunderstorms with that front, and this is by about 4 o'clock. And again, showers and storms will continue west to east today. And after that line moves through, we'll still see a chance for a few showers and storms early tonight, and then it actually clears out for the overnight, leading to mostly cloudy skies. Here's the storm potential product off FutureScan. And again, when you see these darker colors, that starts to indicate the better chances for thunderstorm development. And then again, you can see the southern tier in northwestern Pennsylvania has those darker colors. That indicates better chances to see at least a severe storm or two, basically, this afternoon. So, we'll be here through the afternoon. We're going to keep the weather office staffed, and of course, we'll let you know of what's going on here. So, zone cast the inland areas here today. Temperatures lower 60s for most areas, maybe some mid 60s once you work down, maybe some mid 70s once you work down to Warren County, but it's stifling with a lot of humidity in the air. Next 7 days of your life coming up on the screen right now. 67 tomorrow, and I think we should rename Saturday to Sunday. Lots of sun out there for tomorrow. Another chance of rain on Sunday. Raining again on Monday. We dip a little bit, but then temperatures warm back up again by late next week. And it looks like as we head into Memorial Day weekend, it looks like it will be warm as of right now. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and also on the mobile app. Stay safe this afternoon. Make sure you have a way of getting those mornings, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow at Monday at noon. What day is it? Have a good day.